5% of the vote. Warrington halfback Kevin Brown, Mark.
Yeah, he won this one, not quite by the same margin, but certainly...
Overrated in your opinion, or just failing to perform?
Well, it goes back to the World Cup point. The fact that he's in the squad, I don't know, but then he played so well in that one game in the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Overrated in terms of he's meant to have been brought in to be the man that sort of seals the deal for Warrington this year. And he certainly didn't do that, did he?
He was due to be that catalyst, wasn't he? But it didn't transpire that way. So we've got a new award next, Mark, that we brought in for this year, and that's the Fondest Farewell Award.
Yeah, so it's the first year we're going to be giving this award, and it's to basically the retiring player you're going to miss the most, I suppose. And a couple of people to get mentions. Chris Bridger we put on the shortlist but didn't make the top 4, and Kurt Gidley got a vote as well in there. So fond farewells to those two. In 4th place,
I suspect he didn't know whether or not Matty Blythe was retiring. Otherwise, I would have thought to have seen him in that list.
In 4th place, Thomas Bosk with 4%. We had a few votes, not just Catalan votes as well for Bosco there. So that's a good name there. Fond farewell to him. Andy Lynch got 16% of the votes. Rob Burrow got 33% of the votes. But the fondest farewell for 2017 goes to Gareth Ellis, moving on to the non-playing staff at OFC. 45% of the votes, and I was torn between Ellis and Lynch, but I went with Ellis in the end because of what it meant to the game on a whole. So I'm part of that 45%, and I think just the fact that he's left his mark at 3 different clubs in this country and a huge mark in the NRL too for the club he played for there. I mean, he was Player of the Year 3 seasons of his sort of 4. What the last one was an injury ravaged one at West Tigers, and then to have been selected in the Dream Team at every one of his teams he's played at in Super League, I think shows just a mark of the guy. Yeah,
stellar career and an incredible forward, and the fact that he stamped his authority on the game on both sides of the globe, for me, pushed him over the top, and he got my vote as well. But that's a hell of a list to be top of as well. With when you think of what Rob Burrow has achieved in the game and the number of rings he's won, Andy Lynch has been one of the most consistent prop forwards of the Super League
and exciting era. To watch as
Great to watch, absolutely. Thomas Bosk has been intrinsic to Catalan and has been Mr. Catalan for such a great period of time as well. He'll be sorely missed. And of course, Kurt Gidley came over at the twilight of his career. I don't feel the same kind of attachment to him as a part of Super League, but Chris Bridge again has been a contributor and has won Challenge Cups and has got a Super League ring, I believe, from his time at Bradford Bulls too. So he'll be missed. And I always enjoyed watching Chris Bridge. He was an honest, hard-working, slightly unhinged player. So
I think he kind of mellowed as his career.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, that takes us on to what award next, Mark?
It's the See You Next Tuesday award, Tom. The award for generally prickish behaviour within the world of rugby league.
Yes, there you go.
So this isn't just a player, this can go to anyone, really.
It can, and it has in the past as well. Previous winners, Zach Hardacre in 2014, Marwan Kukash in 2015, and Sean Wayne in 2016.
Perennially on the voting form.
Took the award, absolutely. So a few people to give mentions to, people that got votes cast for them. Anthony Gelling surprised me that people could be in any way offended by Anthony Gelling.
Some people don't find him funny, obviously.
Tremendously entertaining. Ashton Sims, I think that's, again, harsh. Danny Brough, you can see why. Jake Connor and Sean Wayne all got votes.
Jake Connor made me think, could we have put him on the shortlist? He's coming for plenty of flack.
He has come for plenty of flack, but when we go through the top 3, you'll see why he probably wouldn't have won it. There was a joint 3rd place, all commanding 2% of the vote. John Wilkin, just for existing, it would seem. I can't think of anything horrific he's done this year apart from just sort of being himself. Justin Carney, Liam Watson, and Sean O'Loughlin again. Just I think for his existence for some people, got a vote or two. In 2nd place with 24% of the vote was Jamie Acton. You can understand why he picks up some votes given his general behaviour and also specifically his performance in that game against Catalan Dragon. But the runaway leader with 61% of the vote this year for his exploits off the field, Zach Hardacre. So he gets to not retain, but he has now won the See You Next Tuesday award
reclaim
twice.
It, yeah.
So if the pattern continues into next season, Mark, we'll be awarding this to Marwan Kukash, which, given the wholesale changes that are occurring at Salford at the minute, might not be too far wrong.
Luckily, Zach Hardacre can't win it in the next 2 years, but potentially can't win it. I suppose it's for off the field stuff as well.
It's going to keep him out until
but he might be back for his repeat.
So there you go. So watch this space to see Marwan Kukash pick that up next year. Okay, the final of the Listeners Awards is the prestigious Dr. Bob Phillips Award for Listeners Listener of the Year, Mark.
Yeah, and I'm delighted to be announcing this award, which was named after... This is the most prestigious award, we feel, of the Listener Vote For Awards.
Absolutely.
Our votes don't count in this, even though you tried to cast one when you did the voting form.
Who
I removed that.
Right, did you remove it?
Yeah, because we have our own sort of nod to the fans later on.
Yeah, we do.
The previous winners have been Dr. Bob Phillips each of the first 3 years of the award's existence, so he deservedly has his name attached to the Listener's Listener of the Year award.
Yes.
A few people to mention, sort of minor vote getters as it were, but all well deserving. Dave Cantrell got a vote. Dom Hodgson was on the form. John Padgett got a vote. Joshua McKenzie had 2 votes.
There you go.
Did young Joshua in there. Paul O'Doyle-Lewis also attracted some votes, as well as Rich Langley. And kind of in a vote-splitting situation, I suppose, the whole Mackenzie-Scotter clan got a vote.
There you go.
There. So good showing so far. Then in 4th place of the overall voting was Sarah Mackenzie, who maybe lost a vote out to the shared vote.
Yeah. Maybe they should talk and be more tactical next season.
But Scoot's got 8% of the votes. Well done to her, the First Lady of Super League Pod again this year. 3rd place was young Tyler Casfan with 19% of the votes, possibly splitting Castleford votes with Fatboy Rob, who came in 2nd place with 20% of the votes. That means what we possibly all expected, that with 32% of the overall vote, Dr. Robert Phillips, expert in childhood, teenage oncology and that sort of thing, keynote speaker at many an international conference, has retained his award.
I expect to see this added to his Twitter account bio.
Yeah.
4-time Dr. Bob Phillips Award winner, Dr. Bob Phillips. Bravo.
But well done, Bob. Always richly deserved for what he does as a person out there.
But I think this is more based on his contributions to the show as well. I don't think that 4 years of winning this can just be solely based on his, and as important as they are, his actions away from the show. I think there's a consistency to what Bob brings to the show, and the joy and enjoyment and the kind of silliness sometimes that he brings to his interactions with us are always positive. He's very, very rarely negative about people, and I find that really, really important.
The wonderful thing with Bob is he combines his 2 roles as an important part of the SLP family and as an expert in his medical field, by being very helpful and supportive and kind-hearted and informative and those sort of things with other listeners. And that's a wonderful thing, and that's why Bob reigns supreme, really.
Yeah, there you go. And I fully anticipate him to get in touch and say how he doesn't deserve the award and doesn't want to be considered for it next year, and he's a very, very, very modest guy. And I think, again, that just underscores why he is a deserved winner, and the only winner of the Dr. Bob Phillips Award is Dr. Bob. So
and I
remember
I did check, because we do get a few people who vote in the awards that aren't necessarily hardcore listeners.
Right, okay.
And I did check, and pretty much every name that I saw attached to a vote in this, because it gets less votes than the other awards, was a recognisable name or a handle or what have you they might have put. So it does just show that it is the SLP family that really does feel this award. Yeah.
Do you remember very early on in the podcast when he started getting in touch with us and we didn't know his backstory, and I joked that he might be Dr. Bob like Dr. Pepper is a doctor, and he's just come with it, and he very quickly and quietly pointed out that actually he's largely responsible for kicking cancer's arse.
Do you also remember the song that we started to work on?
No.
To the sound of Weezer's Teenage Dirtbag.
Yes.
Teenage Cancer Doctor.
Teenage Cancer Doctor. I did. I think I recall sort of walking to work trying to come up with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Do you know
if anyone
what?
out there wants to play around with that,
I'm gonna resurrect that. I'm gonna resurrect that project. Absolutely. Okay.
So we finish off the listener voted for section with the SLP Dream Team, Tom, which we'll whiz through quite quickly. A lot of the positions, uncontroversially, the votes went with. So, fullback of the year with 58% of the vote was Zach Hardacre. His performances on the field utterly deserved that award and that accolade.
Yes.
Whatever happened after he was in the official Dream Team, certainly people realise he still deserves to take the field in this Dream Team. On the wing, with a huge 78% of the vote, which is... So 78% of people put him in this team because there's 2 wingers that were selected. This is the highest amount of voters that went for one particular player at any particular position. Greg Eden, Super League's top try scorer.
Of course.
Alongside him was Mahe Fanua, who got 51% of the votes. So well done to him. There was a lot of other players that got a fairly even amount of the votes below these two. These two were always the front runners from the very start of the voting, though. In the centres, this was the closest. It was a 3-horse race, and every time I checked where the awards were at, this one was moving around.
Right, okay.
But it ended up with Michael Shenton with 52% of the votes and Mark Percival with 49% of the votes, the 47% of the votes that went to Oliver Gildart.
Oh,
yeah.
Close.
So close, but well done to those two, definitely deserving. There's not much more.
No, I'm looking for controversy, and I can't find it anywhere in this. But it all seems like well deserved.
For me, some controversy comes at standoff, where Albert Kelly ran away with it with 64% of the votes. I think people forgot how good George Williams was in the regular season. But hey ho, Albert Kelly was phenomenal. Did score more tries than any other halfback.
So that gets him in at standoff. Who was our scrum half?
That was Luke Gale with a massive 75% of the votes. Unsurprising, given he was Player of the Year as well, and everything in which he did. I was actually surprised that anyone else got votes.
Well, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and into the forward pack then.
Right, so we're going to start with the prop forwards, and Alex Worms with 58% of the vote was overwhelmingly the most selected here. This was another tightly contested one for the second position. Liam Watts ended up with it with 30% of the votes, which I thought was slightly controversial, that he edged out Grant Millington and Seb Ikehefo, who were very close behind him. Well done to those two players, definitely deserving.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't argue against them, really, can you?
Hooker with 58% of the votes was Matt Parcell. I can't believe that he didn't get more.
Well, yeah.
In the second row, Mike McMeekan was a runaway selection, 63% of the vote, so almost 2/3 of people went with McMeekan. An unsurprising, really, choice there. Stevie Ward edged into the second place with a late run into that spot. 33% of the votes went to him. So in a game richly deserved, and we really love Stevie Ward, don't we, as a human being,
around,
as well as rugby league player.
Exactly. In every sphere of existence, really, we're big raps around Stevie Ward, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. And then at loose forward, this is where we kind of cheated a bit, didn't we?
Yeah.
We went against our principles to an extent, because Adam Cuthbertson plays sort of prop and a bit loose forward. He often gets named on the team sheet at prop, but he sort of plays a more ball-playing role of the prop forwards at Leeds. Now, we did this partly because the people behind him weren't quite fully deserving of that position, we felt. So with 48% of the vote, Adam Cuthbertson got in there.
Yeah.
I just think people don't understand what actual high-quality players to have had Adam Milner ahead of Sean O'Loughlin in the minor voting for this award. But there you go. People love heart and determination, and we shouldn't knock heart and determination.
No,
clearly,
not at all. And but
I'm glad we put Cuthbertson on there so Milner didn't get it.
I don't feel that. Well, no, I don't feel that we should knock heart and determination. And I sort of suspect I might have voted for Adam Milner. I can't recall now. I did write down my dream team selections when I made them, but it was a few weeks ago, and I've sort of lumbered around with it in my wallet, and it's got displaced as I cleaned out my receipts the other day. So there's your SLP Dream Team for 2017. We're going to move on now to the host chosen awards, which is our opportunity to kind of shine a light on the people that we want to personally thank for their contributions. There's so many people that get in touch with the Super League pod on semi-regular basis and then more regular basis that it's just nice to be able to kind of acknowledge the contributions that come in. The first award that you're going to introduce for us, though, Mark, is a new award for 2017, because we've amalgamated the Diane LBW Award for Tweeter of the Year and the Scott Lister Award for Facebooker of the Year, and come up with the Full Bry Award for Contributor of the Year. So it kind of covers off both social media platforms,
and the sort of, because the experience has moved more towards using the Google Forms for the match reviews as well.
Precisely.
Getting the odd longer form email in and stuff like that. And obviously when we're talking about combining all the elements of getting in touch with the show, the person you think of straight away is
is the man himself.
by Brian Davies, because he used to cover all platforms in the early days, and actually the first time this award's going to be given out, it's going to be shared, and it's going to be shared between Brian Davies and Tyler Casfan, and the reason for that